Okay. Whenever we start SAP project, we have uh, a land uh, client requirement, and the clients basically they screen their departments, their head of departments, the consulting companies, and we have to interview them as well for client info, for blueprinting, design testing. So there are phases involved. So if, for example, if a company wants implementation, so it will start doing scoping. Scoping means what is the list of the work that will be implemented for finance, for HR, for inventory, for production, for sales, for distribution, for warehouse, and so on. Like, for example, how many GLs in HR, it will be how many employees, how the taxes are paid, how many unpaid leaves are done, how the leave management is managed, hiring, payroll management, and so on. So all the process is collected and it's collected at one place, and that becomes your scoping document. In phase two, the audit teams from every department, they actually choose head of implementations for every department, director of ERP implementations. So, and over them, there is a project director. So, for example, we have implementation in Johnson Johnson. First, they will prepare the scoping document internally, and then they will approach consulting companies, and the consulting companies will get understanding of project, and then it will start demos, technical demos, discussions will happen with the teams, internal teams, management, consulting company. And when that is done, when there is a match, the processes are understood on both sides and the purpose is clear, then bidding and quotation is invited from many companies. In the quotation, of course, there is quotation for all the modules, the profiles of project managers and experts are submitted. Change managers are also included, and director profiles are also discussed. So price is one element, but the problems with the solutions is what the consulting company is much more concerned about. And so should be the client. So the deliverable, of course, is to provide value. Okay. For example, if IBM wins the project, it has to understand the project, and it starts with a 0-day training program. And it has to have the understanding of the project with the number of users, with licensing, and it will also then get down to understanding departments within the departments like training, recruitment, hiring, if you're talking about HCM. And if you're talking about other modules, then we'll have inventory manager, production manager, finance manager, and so on. So sometimes companies avoid HCM because they are comfortable with old systems, and old systems can be useful or not. That depends on how consulting companies assume it to be. So there is system landscape, which is basically servers for development, for quality testing, and for production live. So there are three categories in development: configuration, development, customization, testing. That is one instance, one setup of development. Then in development, we develop every solution and the logic. And then when it is ready, another consultant, the server consultant, he transfers all the configuration from one part to quality. Quality is another server where all testing is done, the test scripts are prepared, and the client is involved to test all the process, which is he compares the process from as is, which is the old process as is, and to be is the next SAP process, and the testing is done. Testing is basically a crucial part in testing the landscape of SAP and its alignment with the business. And also in quality server, we also train end users. And once the training is done, user acceptance testing UAT is conducted, which is a major milestone. And the users actually approve or disapprove the system, after which we have production server. For production, we have pre-production where all the records, configuration, data, master data is transferred and it is reconciled with old system before shifting to PRD. That is how it is shifted to the servers. The architecture of SAP is pretty simple. R3 means real-time 3 layers. The layers are presentation, database layer, middle, and the middle layer, of course, has all the configuration and logic. And as for HANA, the database layer is there, but the RAM is working on the database level with that capacity. So there are different types of projects, implementations, support, rollouts, enhancements, and upgradations. And upgradations, we have Greenfield, which is totally implementation from the scratch. Brownfield is the same implementation with data migration and configuration that is migrated. We implement projects using ASAP methodology, and now we have more new rise with SAP, that is new technology. So how is a project prepared? First is the scoping, where client and consulting company collaborate. Then we prepare blueprint. All the processes are collected in blueprinting. Then SAP solution is done and mapping is done with the business process. All the functional technical people, consultants, they actually collect all the process and combine the processes. The specification document has all the configuration nodes, which is prepared by functional technical consultants. They have the configuration nodes, the pathways of SAP, the T codes, and the solutions, and the solution mapping is done. Along the way, if SAP is not able to match some processes, then those are called gaps. Those gaps are then customized using ABAP. Okay. So ABAP basically is the programming language which produces more solutions through customizations. After that, we have realization, which is configuration. Then comes testing, then pre-go live preparation, go live and support, and post-go live and support. These are the phases. Implementation is basically done using phases. First three phases are very important. Okay, first three phases are in development server, testing is in QA server, and go live is on PRD server. Okay. So blueprinting basically is where you gather all the requirements of the company. Okay, and those are then matched in SAP. Okay. So what is scoping? Scoping is basically you collect all the information, how many plants, how many workers, payroll scheduling, and so on about every department. So these processes are then either approved or not approved, or they are redone and the configuration is done. Okay. So speaking of SAP implementation, it's not very difficult, but of course, it has to go phase wise. And when we're talking about phase wise, there are many SAP modules that are implemented and ready for business, like CRM, SRM, APO, MDM, BI, and so on. But there are also larger solutions. These are modules. Then we have solution, industry solutions. IS is industry solutions. For retail is there is different. For media, there is different. For IS utilities is different. That's how it's basically laid out. Other than that, we have SAP modules for various areas like BPC, HCM, strategic asset management. Okay. And then we have analytics, BIW, where it communicates and makes dashboards using data warehouse. And data warehouse basically works on the principle of abstraction, transformation, and loading. This is where how analytics is designed. BI is again analytics. It works on the principle of abstraction and transformation loading for reporting. Okay. So basically, this is how SAP projects are implemented in the market. Okay. Enterprise portal, if you talk about this, another technology which uses web-based architecture for cloud-based operations of SAP. Okay. MDM is master data management for every module. CRM has another ecosystem which has sales, service, analytics, customer interaction, and so on. So basically, this is how SAP is laid out, and that was our first lecture. I've actually gone through it in a summarizing manner. I'll supply the notes